I got these router bits in this little router template from Banggood, and I shot this big long intro, but you don't need to waste your time watching all that, so we're just going to cut through it, and I'm going to show you if this thing is worth your money or not. The first bit we're going to take a look at here is this little compression bit. Now it's got a bearing on the top and the bottom, so you can either put your template on the top or the bottom of your woodworking. And it's about 1.25 inches worth of cutting area, and we're looking about 1/2 inch to where it changes directions. And the reason it changes directions is so that it cuts downwards from the outside to the end, which keeps the chip out to a minimum. I got this little flexible guide, and this guide is great for making arches and cuts. You can, as you see my layout lines, you can make some layout lines, and that way you can get a nice, even arch. But as you see, it's nice and solid, and this bit is just running nice and smooth around the board. And the biggest thing though is going to be when we pull it off, do we have a nice smooth edge without a lot of chip out? As you can see, when I pulled the little guide off, I have 0 chip out, top or bottom. I have just a little bit of like a fur edge that I rub my finger over, and it is then perfect. So definitely I think this router bit is going to be great for cutting thin plywood or thick plywood up to 1.25 inches. I mean, if it'll cut plywood with a good finish, it's going to cut any material and leave a good smooth finish. Okay, so this is what I was making the template for. I've got these 2.25 inch thick pieces of monkey pod. It's a pretty hard wood, and I'm trying to make some legs, and I want them to be the same. So instead of trying to use the flexible guard to make it the exact same, I make a quick template out of a piece of plywood, and then I attach that to the actual legs using some double-sided tape. Now I'm going to switch over to this Carbide tipped router bit and set that up to cut. And the thing I love about these Carbide tipped blades is that you basically are getting 4 blades for the price of 1, because if you were to hit a nail or something or somehow dull this up, you just rotate the blade over and now you got a nice sharp edge. Whereas with a typical router bit, you can't sharpen it when you're running with the bearing on the top, because it will narrow the bit up, and so it no longer cuts flush. This way, when you rotate it, it's still going to be flush. And now you see how much wood chips this thing is kicking out. I didn't trim this real tight, so I'm actually cutting out a lot of wood here in one pass. I like to make things quick and efficient, and I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to get this cut real close. I can just rough cut it, put this bit in here, and man, this sucker cut fantastic. But being able to cut fast doesn't mean nothing if it leaves just a crappy edge and you got to spend tons of time sanding and smoothing it up. But man, look at the edge on that. That looks like I've already sanded it. And to be honest, I didn't even use the spindle sander. I just took a piece of sandpaper and hand sanded this, and this is probably one of the easiest parts of building this whole table, was because this was already so smooth. All I had left was just to kind of give a round over to the bottom of these feet. And now with this going this way, you're okay because you're kind of coming around the grain. But on the other side, you have to be extremely careful because you're cutting against the grain, and that can just splinter off the bottom of the feet. And you see this is where that white sapwood is. And so when I'm kind of coming across there, I kind of hit the edge because I didn't trim this down at all. And right there when it come around, you see there is no chip out, no splintering. That just made a perfect cut. I mean, I could not be more impressed with that, because I have had that chip out so many times when it cutting on the corner of an end grain like that. So just another fabulous router bit. I wished I would have got these sooner. I haven't really been filming a lot of projects lately, which I hate, but this is the little table I was working on, and like you can see, it just came out absolutely fabulous. So if you like this kind of content, go ahead and be sure and subscribe. You know what to do. So till next time, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon.